Well guys, it looks like the Liver King is already in full damage control mode, and he's ready to respond to his audience for his wrongdoings. For those of you guys who didn't watch the last video, just to give you a quick rundown, there's this guy out there named the Liver King. He got really big on social media over the last year and a half, and during that time he was constantly preaching this primal, in his words, ancestral message, basically saying, hey, if you eat this way and if you do these things you can look like me. And he was packaging it with these supplements that were selling like absolute hotcakes, and that apparently his company was making over $100 million in the last calendar year. And so everything was going good for him until this guy named Derek, aka More Plates, More Dates, basically came out with this whistleblowing exposed video where he leaked these emails from Liver King himself that proved he was taking over $12,000 of pharmaceutical steroids every single month, all while selling his fans a pipe dream.
Primals, I'm making this video to apologize. Because I fucked up. Because I'm embarrassed and ashamed. Because I lied. And I misled a lot of people.
I mean, I won't lie, we're off to a pretty good start. From the very beginning, he's saying, I'm sorry that I fucked up. I'm sorry that I lied. I'm sorry that I misled all these people. I mean, I'm not saying I trust him in any sort of way, but it's about the best he could have started this out.
This is a complicated as fuck topic, at least to me it is, because before social media, I was rich and anonymous. And after social media, I'm still rich, but no longer anonymous. And I never expected this kind of exposure in the public eye.
So in his words, he never expected this kind of exposure. I think he means exposure in the public eye. And I find that statement a little bit strange because even in those emails when the Liver King persona didn't even exist yet, it was very clear that this guy had already assembled a team and that he was spending a lot of resources to try and make this social media push and basically create this character, which in this case is the Liver King, that he knew would go viral. And in that email, he even talks about how his goal was to have over 1 million followers. So for him to say that he didn't expect all of this despite pouring all those resources in, I'm not really buying it.
Yes, I've done steroids. And yes, I am on steroids, monitored and managed by a trained hormone clinician.
We know.
Liver King, the public figure, was an experiment to spread the message, to bring awareness to the 4,000 people a day who kill themselves, the 80,000 people a day that try to kill themselves. Our people are hurting at record rates with depression, autoimmune, anxiety, infertility, low ambition in life.
Are you serious?
Young men are hurting the most, feeling lost, weak, and submissive. So I made it my job to model, teach, and preach a simple, elegant solution called ancestral living, the 9 ancestral tenets, so our people no longer have to suffer, so we can collectively express our highest and most dominant form. This is my fight. This is why I exist.
I know that this man is not about to blame his steroid use on the plight of other people who have depression and feel like they need to self-delete and do all these other bad things to themselves. No, he's not going to say that's the reason he was taking steroids this entire time, and it wasn't to feed his 5'7" ego.
While spreading the message, I've been on several podcasts, and when asked if I've ever taken steroids, I've always said no, I don't touch this stuff, not gonna touch this stuff, never touch the stuff. That was a lie.
We know. We can tell.
I've convinced myself that this had nothing to do with the ancestral message. I convinced myself that I'm not a competitive athlete of any kind, so who the fuck am I cheating?
Yeah, so he's talking a whole lot of word salad right now. He's basically saying that he convinced himself that this little tidbit about him being on $12,000 worth of steroids every single month wouldn't be important to, inform his audience in on. Which is obviously just complete bullshit when you're selling like lifestyle supplements. Like I said, you're basically trying to be the base model for if you live your life this way, you can look like me, you can be like me. Because as we've already talked about, without his physique looking the way it does, this guy would not have blown up on social media. No one would have given a shit that he was out here eating liver, it was just a part of the whole image.
And I had convinced myself that this would be the wrong message to send to the 15-year-old boys.
It is.
So I continually dismissed it, and I dug myself into a bigger and deeper hole.
I mean, you don't think that it's worse for 15-year-old boys to think that they can actually obtain a physique like yours without the help of steroids? You don't think that that's a much more harmful thing to put into a kid's psyche to think, oh, why am I not getting bigger? Why don't I look like him? They start eating those cow testicles. They're like, what the fuck is going on?
I will be better. I will talk about it openly because I believe that there's a time and a place for pharmacological intervention monitored and managed by a trained hormone physician.
It's just so funny to hear this coming from the guy who was all about being natural, all about being holistic, all about being your primal being, when in reality, he can't be seen much different than a girl going out and getting a BBL at this point. Don't get me wrong, he worked extremely hard to get this physique. I do believe him that he's working out for multiple hours a day, multiple training sessions. I don't know, I just think it's funny that the guy who was all about being all natural was pumping himself full of this bullshit.
I have tried several peptide combinations in an effort to increase my growth hormone, and it didn't work, meaning that my levels still remained below the normal level. So yes, it's also true that I've tried pharmaceutical grade growth hormone, and I finally found success in managing therapeutic levels in the normal range. Yes, this is true. I've continued on with 0.6 cc's of testosterone per week, roughly 120 milligrams of testosterone a week. And no, I don't take any other steroids like nandrolone or winstrol, but I have tried them in the past without success.
I just don't see why at this point we should believe anything that he's saying. Because if I'm understanding correctly, he's basically saying, oh, I tried to take all these steroids by myself more recreationally, and they all didn't work. Okay, his levels were still low. And so now he's basically trying to say the only thing he's currently taking is this TRT, which is, you know, basically something that's prescribed to a lot of older men. I don't know, I'm just still not buying it in the slightest. And I feel like he's still being disingenuous.
Nope. The Liver King brand has had nothing, or at least very little, to do with my business success. My companies were already kicking ass, already successful before the Liver King public figure, growing at 50% year over year and still growing at the same pace after the Liver King public figure.
Bullshit. I mean, why would this guy have even done any of this and continue pouring all these resources in if it wasn't very profitable for his companies? He's gonna try and sit here and tell you guys that gaining millions of followers across social media, selling a certain lifestyle, didn't help sell him more supplements. I mean, anyone with a brain could most likely tell you that that's a crock of shit.
Ultimately, why do I do them? When I talk about the 85% of the population that suffers from self-esteem issues, that's me. I'm part of that statistic. This is why I fucking work myself to death in the gym. This is why I do 12 to 15 blood-burning workouts a week, just to feel like I'm okay. Still, I have to absolutely crush myself to do so, and I'm wrecked physically and cognitively, and hormone replacement has helped in a profound and significant way.
So yeah, I guess this apology is really just gonna be him not really taking accountability for absolutely anything. I mean, don't get me wrong, he fessed up to using steroids, but the writing was pretty much on the wall for this guy. I mean, obviously he came out with this confession rather quickly because he probably saw all the people talking shit online, he probably saw all the people trashing his supplements, those sales started to slow down, and so obviously you're gonna start to panic, right? So now he's trying to save face by saying, oh, I'm insecure too. I have depression too, guys. When before his entire message was, hey, live your life like me and you won't be depressed, you're gonna have such a great time, you're gonna be so happy, and guess what, you're even gonna get an amazing physique. It's just kinda like everything he stood for is now crumbling around him. I mean, the sheer fact that he's still in this Liver King character and he's not talking as himself, I think his name is like Brian, really tells me all I need to know about how genuine this apology actually is.
I knew I needed to take this opportunity to openly discuss everything for me to be a better human.
Yeah, you took the opportunity because you saw the writing on the wall and knew that you were fucked if you didn't do a response. Now, I do think this guy will go on to still have a very successful social media career if that's what he decides to do. A lot of people in this fitness, bodybuilding, lifestyle community have been exposed for using steroids. And for the most part, they've still done okay because let's be honest, his content really isn't necessarily about exactly what he's saying. It's more of like a visual concept, like, oh, look at this cool guy doing some cool shit. Like I said, at this point, this guy just draws so many parallels to like a Dan Brazilian to me. At this point, I also don't really know what to believe about his life or what he's feeding me in this video. Like, is he telling the truth about not using these other steroids still? Is he telling the truth about why he used the steroids? Personally, I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, he knew having this certain physique and being the spokesperson for his company was obviously the smart thing to do. And he knew deep down, that's why he lied on multiple podcasts, that if he said he was on steroids, a lot of this shit would go away and a lot of people would start to think he's a fraud. So he was gonna try and keep it a secret for as long as possible, going with it till the wheels fell off when obviously he wasn't natural from the start. So yeah, I just didn't find this apology very good. I didn't find it very genuine at all. I think on the grand scale of YouTube apologies, I'm giving this like, I don't know, a 2 out of 5. Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Make sure you eat some liver today. For real though, it's been your boy Tan Superman, and some other fakes out here need to be exposed, so I'm out. Peace!